Okay, it's day 156 of Nofap. Got a late start this morning, so I'm gonna be late to work. But yeah, kind of. I don't know if it's really unexpected per se. I mean, like yesterday when I got up at 6, I just rolled out of bed and went straight to work. Yeah, I don't know if I was just kind of feeling almost not going in. 'Cause I really don't take days off. But there's some stuff in my mind because there was some issues with getting certain equipment back online yesterday, and just the process, and the fact that there were certain papers that needed to be signed off that kind of sat there for a week because of whatever reason. The person was just kind of dilly-dallying, and I tried to be understanding, but the problem is because it's my first time, working on this process, and having to learn all the paperwork that has to, be signed off and whatnot. I ended up taking that equipment back into the lab, and I think some of it might have gotten used. And basically, if everything isn't quote unquote kosher, all the paperwork isn't signed off or whatever, that's a big deal. It's an automatic non-conformance event, or whatever they call it. I think they call them non-conformance reports nowadays. But yeah, basically that just leads to a whole ton of issues. And if one of those pipettes got used and things weren't cleared or whatever, that can be my head on the chopping block, to one extent or another. And yeah, so it's a concern of mine. And a lot of it is just because, for instance, first time working on this whole deal is something that I did step up to, kind of took on my shoulders, because it's sort of a way to try to pivot towards the engineering side of things. But I don't know, some of the stuff, the way that they have things set up is sort of it could be any of these three people who could sign it off, and then it's if the boxes are sitting there, and I was notified boxes came in, about pipettes, but there have been cases in the past where they'll say that boxes came in, and then it's I'm thinking, are those my pipettes? And then it's turned out to be somebody else's. And I mean, the fact that those sat there for a week and nobody really told me, hey, these specific boxes are yours, and they didn't go through the paper, they didn't sign off on their end, except for one person. She signed off on things, but the other person who was supposed to, just kind of I don't know what they were doing. But that's really annoying. And again, I'm hoping it doesn't lead to some bigger event. I'll have to go and follow up with her tomorrow, make sure things were signed off and released and all that. But yeah. And I think I need to follow up with some other people, but those are the first things I gotta do when I get in. And like I said, I'm running late, so I don't know how today's gonna turn out, but I think I can turn the air off now. But yeah, again, it's another day of things that are not related to Nofap affecting my sort of state of life, and as a result, my mental, emotional state. And I mean, might not seem to be related to Nofap, but it's kind of like I said in the past, if life isn't going great, or I'm not like handling my business, so to speak, it can put me into a state of mind where I would want to relapse, that sort of deal, which is why I got to guard against this sort of stuff. But other than that, honestly, like, yeah, I'm tired, but no, that's not the thing I want to say. I wasn't able to read the full comment that you left, Dark Magician. I think the part I was able to see up to where you started talking about the situation with the girl, and I wish I could see the full comment. I think sometimes I don't know if they just like they filter comments on YouTube videos for some odd reason. Kind of like people talk about being shadow banned. I don't know, there's like a shadow filter where it's kind of like you're not allowed to see, all the comments that people make or put, on your videos. So, I mean, I don't know what's up with that, but as far as the situation with the girl is concerned, like now it feels awkward, it feels kind of uncomfortable, and to be honest with you, like, I almost kind of wish I hadn't, asked her out, but at the same time, like, I know that if I didn't, I'd probably be sitting here, like, doing what I usually do with situations like that, where I just kind of like, sort of swing back and forth and fret about, oh, this girl and, the other guy competing for her and all this kind of stuff. But ultimately, I hope that all blows over. Because, with all this other stuff going on, I have other bigger problems, and honestly, like, again, like where I'm at in life and the stuff I'm dealing with, and it's like the whole like being red pill aware as well. It kind of makes it clear to me that really, what I really want is just to eat this paycheck coming in. I obviously gain relevant experience, that sort of thing, but get the paycheck coming in, pay off all these debts, get myself to a point where I don't have to worry about that kind of stuff anymore, where I don't have to think about it anymore. And along the way, like take care of my classes, move forward in that direction. And if unfortunately it means that I, don't end up with some girl, where I end up alone, that sort of thing. Honestly, like I said in the past, like I feel like the fight's been sort of beaten out of me, and I'm in the state of mind where I'm like, okay, I get it. These women don't want me. They're not interested in me. They don't want me, or they don't need me. I get it. I accept that. Fine. Just, let me go. Let me out. Let me out of let me out of this, this crazy trainer, out of this crazy trainer, out of this, out of this society, Like, okay, I'll pay my dues, I'll pay off all my debts, get enough cash, maybe get some land somewhere, build a house, create enough passive income that I don't have to work, and I'll just disappear, I'll remove the inconvenience that is me, not by finding a permanent solution to a temporary problem, as I think Rich Cooper likes to use that way of wording it, but not by that, but by just walking away to some sort of safe haven I will have created for myself, and that's kind of like the mindset I'm of, You go through enough of this stuff and you just kind of realize, like, whether it's because of your gender, your race, your religion, you just kind of fit into this demographic where, try as you might, you're never really going to be looked upon in any positive light. Like, you literally are the enemy that whoever they are. You know, you are the enemy, whoever they are, that they're fighting, that they're fighting, or they feel like struggling against, or you're like the bogeyman. You know, that they go on about in their sort of their rants about, you know, the evils of this group or that group, and like you are part of that group regardless of whether or not you ever committed any wrongs. You just are. Like the one-eyedest girl. Her coming from Morocco, a quote-unquote Muslim, you know, society or nation, country. And with her background and her indoctrination in a certain ism and her rejection of, you know, more of a traditional or conventional way of, you know, viewing life, or you know, her losing her father at a young age, etc., etc. All those factors combine to make it such that a guy like me, as I was back then in particular, I was always going to be the enemy. And the best that I could ever possibly have done would be to convince her of a temporary alliance. You know, like, okay, you know, until she could get the guy she would really want to get with, which she, fortunately for her, she found that guy, you know. And, you know, ultimately, the best scenario I would have gotten would have been basically to be like this temporary placeholder. That's the best situation I would have ended up in, and then it would have sucked even worse if I had been the guy that she had temporarily settled for until she could get the other guy to come around, and then she'd, you know, jump from me to him, she'd monkey branch over to him, and it would have been even more of a shocker, you know, even more of a traumatic event. And when you have experiences like that, experiences where, like, it's kind of like everything that you thought you had to do as let's say as a guy to succeed in the dating market, the relationship market, you know, that it's like it's false, or that it was at one point in time true, but it's no longer true. It was like, you know, like a contextual truth, that it's something that it's kind of like, you know, for instance, as long as you know, these women didn't have jobs or money, they need, you know, that sort of provisioning. They needed that provisioning and that, you know, sort of protection. That, okay, all these traditional sorts of things that, you know, you would do as a guy to sort of prove yourself, to secure a mate, that you know, that stuff was true and it applied and it was effective to go and pursue things like that. You know, like, just focus on your studies, get that degree, land that job, and, you know, you'll get the girl. You know, that doesn't make sense anymore. It doesn't, you know, it's not true anymore. Particularly with the demographic of women I've had to try and, you know, sort of win over. Where, like I said, you know, they don't need you, and they already didn't want you to begin with, but they definitely don't need you. It's not like they're going to put up with you or give you a shot because, well, you know, he makes X number of dollars per year, and if she gets with that guy, then she'll have, you know, a certain quality of life. And, like, she's already providing that stuff for herself, so why the heck is she going to let you in, you know, into her life or want to join your life, you know? And unfortunately, you know, for the majority of us guys, that's kind of our experience of things, which is why a lot of guys are walking away and giving up, or, you know, letting it go. And obviously, like, yeah, there's that small percentage of guys who will, quote unquote, make the cut, And I'm sure a lot of them, it's not like they were naturals. They had to sort of work at it and get themselves to that point. But like, I don't know. It seems like for a lot of us, maybe it's because of the pressure we're kind of under. Starting off, come from family or society or whatever. It's nebulous society or more concrete like family influences. We're kind of put out there into this whole like fray, so to speak, before we even have a fraction of what would be required to succeed. And obviously part of that is being able to look at the unflattering, cold, harsh truth, and process it and accept it, And I think that's one of the hardest aspects for me, because on the one hand, it's kind of like if you're just trying to get laid and that's all you really want, it's all you're really after, and you can do all these things that would make you the kind of guy that the woman in question, when she's in her 30s or her 40s or even older, she'll look back and miss her time with you. I mean, yeah, you can have a great time just knocking it out with one woman after the next, but it's like a scenario where God forbid, like you want something more substantial, or even worse, if you want to actually be married and have like kids and have a stable, functional, healthy family scenario or situation, like there are guys out there who can succeed at that, but it's sort of like they're in the extreme minority. Even of the guys who are quote unquote red pill aware or have integrated all of that into their lives, like it's sort of like they're an extremely small minority because of just the fact that the nature of the game is such that like I said, if you want to get laid, okay, you can do that. You can probably knock it out with enough women to, maybe temporarily satisfy you. But because of how things work, if you get to that point where you want to get married, it's sort of like you have to find some girl who hasn't played that game herself. And even then, if you do, there's always that sort of like making up or missing out sort of dynamic at play, where even if you find the younger woman who hasn't been out there or hasn't been out there that much, she doesn't have like a huge notch count, or if you're lucky enough you find some woman who has no notch count, there's always that sort of like pressure from the collective to get that woman to get involved in that sort of stuff, even if she's married, even if you think you got the tightest game possible or imaginable. There's that pressure to get that woman involved in that, and if that means committing adultery or just divorcing you, even if you've already had 2 or 3 kids, and things seem to be going along just swimmingly. And I don't know. I really don't want to take that kind of a chance, especially since if I got that far and I had kids and she decided she was going to go out and play the field and make up for missing out, like it's not going to be just destroying my life, it'd be destroying the kids' lives. And if you're dealing with someone like that who's so self-absorbed, they don't really care about how their decisions affect, even their own kids, their own, son or daughter. Why do that? And as such, again, I have all these reasons to just want to do almost like the bare minimum just to keep my freaking job long enough to eliminate these debts, to basically break these chains that tie me down to society, and in the meantime create the means by which I could just walk away if I felt like it. And it's not like I wouldn't be doing other things with my life. Like, I'd probably be going back to school. And when I say like going to school, I mean, yeah. When I say that, I mean like full time. And by full time, I don't necessarily mean taking like a full time course load, but just school would be like what I would be focused in on. That'd be one option. The other option would be to work, continually, but it wouldn't have the kind of like pressure that the current situation has. I wouldn't have that level of like concern or fear or frustration, Like I could tell certain people how I really feel, and if they didn't take to that, then it'd be like, okay, fine, I'm out of here, Same thing with situations like this where, again, I gotta follow up on some of this sort of stuff, but man, I'm tired of this. And I say this even as I can sit here and say 156 days of Nofap. But not tired of Nofap. Tired of all these other things. Living in a society that's very much dependent upon guys like me doing our job, working our job, making stuff happen, making that money, taking that heat, doing all that, but then at the same time being treated as the enemy, so to speak, and handing over our hard-earned cash to the same folks who hate us. Because man, I could really get into some actual political stuff as opposed to just generic sort of broad things. But there's stuff I look back on from college, and man, it's the kind of stuff that still makes me angry, because it's not even just about individuals. It's sort of like what it says about the nature of the world right now. Needless to say, it's like I like being expected to help and support the people who hate you or despise you, and almost like being expected to be their sort of their footstool, all the while going through all the crap that you end up going through in life, and not really having anybody truly care. And I don't mean like nobody. I mean, there are people who comment on my videos, subscribe to me, who support me, provide moral support, so to speak. But for every one of them, there's it seems like there's 1,000 or 10,000, 100,000 who just plain simply don't care. It's not just don't care about me. They don't care about those of us in this demographic who are going through what we're going through. Because like I said, we're just like utilities. Utilities for a world, for a society that all they need is they need to squeeze as much value out of us as they can. They also just really don't care about us, and they want to hate on us. But yeah, that's sort of my state of mind right now. You can tell I'm frustrated and to one extent or another demoralized. but I am trying to chug along and take care of things and keep up as much hope as I can, even though that, like if you listen to the last few minutes, like obviously I don't sound like I have that much hope. But every time I knock down a bill, pay off a debt, I feel a little bit freer, and I feel like I'm getting somewhere to that point where I could be in the position of zero power, where the ultimate power being like the ability to walk away. Where you're at that position where it's sort of like you don't need the other person as much as they need you. You don't need the job as much as it needs you. Where you don't have to put up with that kind of treatment, or even just the possibility of bad things going down, stuff going sideways. You can just like exit stage left at your own leisure, and it's not going to affect your quality of life. So it's like I do currently have that hope, and like I said, every time I make a payment, I pay something down or pay something off, I feel positive feedback from that. So anywho, yeah, I think it's one of the signs of success in like Nofap is the fact that as much as I complain about things, or I go on about stuff that I'm not happy about, the fact that my focus isn't on PMO on a daily basis, it's on these other things, that's sort of like a sign of success, So if you're making it to that point where you're able to like focus on other problems or other issues you're dealing with and start doing something about it, then you're making progress. So, and to whoever I don't know, either resubbed or just recently subbed to my channel, thanks, I appreciate it. And as much as I may sit here and go on about the things I'm not happy about in life, I'm gonna try and provide as much good content as I can. So, anywho, yep, 10 minutes late, and it's not great, but I still just have to try and make up for it today. Today's Tuesday, I don't have class, so don't have to be leaving early. I think I have a couple builds to do, but we'll check the schedule and then get on that. So, man, I can get enough PTO just to take a freaking week off and go someplace else. That would be great. Anywho, pulling into the parking lot now, and I'm gonna stop recording once I have parked the car. Anywho, to those who tune into this video, tune into my channel, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support, and I'll see you folks around. Bye-bye.